On today's episode of High Impact, we take a look at a deck filled with galactic Goliaths that are more savage than a supernova. It's time to cover Galaxy Photons. Galaxy Photons are an Xyz-based archetype originally introduced in the Zexal era as they were used by Kite, aka Kaito, one of Yuma's main rivals. Technically speaking, Galaxy Photons isn't actually a single archetype, rather two archetypes that are considered to be directly attached to Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. Speaking of which, Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is a level 8 light dragon type monster and is your primary Xyz material that you'll be using to make your rank 8 plays in this deck. Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon also has an effect that allows you to special summon it by attributing two 2000 plus attack point monsters. The 2000 attack point plus point is a bit of a theme within the Galaxy Photon archetype, so as you will see, a lot of their cards do synergize with this effect, or a lot of their cards do require having a certain amount of attack points in order to be used as material, to get effects off, etc, etc. We'll cross those bridges as we come, but for now, you always run 3 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, as it is just so versatile and so much of the focus of the archetype proper. Galaxy United is our next level 8 card, and it allows you to normal summon it without tribute if you control a Galaxy or Photon monster. Then if you do so, you can revive a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your grave. This is obviously good because it is a free rank 8 or link 2. I've settled on running 2 as it is a bit of a brick early game, especially if you don't open any of the other lower level Galaxy or Photon monsters, but it's too good to not run at any less than 2. Galaxy Braver is one of the newer Galaxy Photon cards to be revealed, and it allows you, during your turn, reveal one Photon monster in your hand, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, its level becomes the revealed monster's level. Along with that, whenever you normal special summon it, you can target a Galaxy monster in your graveyard and have this copy the attack and defense values of said monster. This card is definitely a bit of an oddball, however it does enable us to go into our rank 4 plays a lot more due to the fact that we can reveal Photon Thrasher, Vanisher, or Advancer. I wouldn't exactly call this card a must run, but it is nice to have, and you can make a judgment call for yourself whenever you play this deck, if you want to run it or not. On to our lone level 5 monster, we have 3 Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier allows you to pitch a light monster from your hand in order to special summon this card from your hand in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you get to add a Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, including itself. However, this effect is only once per turn. Galaxy Soldier is the #1 card you want to play and open with because it allows you to set up your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon into the grave for Galaxy Knight or Leviona, which we're going to get into later. It also allows you to access Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is still a very good card, and it also allows you to unbrick your hands by just generally searching anything you may need for the moment. Galaxy Vanisher, another one of our newer level 4 monsters, allows you to special summon it whenever you control a Photon or Galaxy monster. Upon special summoning it, you can search out a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon card and add it to your hand. It also gives Xyz monsters summoned using it as material the effect that whenever it destroys a monster by battle, rather than destroying it, they are banished instead. Photon Vanisher is one of the best ways you could go into our Link 2 monster Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon, and the fact that it replaces itself in the hand is very helpful for giving us food for Galaxy Soldier special summoning effect. Definitely a solid 3. Photon Thrasher is another level 4 monster that allows you to special summon it when you control no monster. Simply put, it's just here for the namesake and to make Photon Vanisher more live and to thus make our rank 4 plays a little more live. Mileage may vary by person. I wouldn't exactly say this is a hard 2 of. Photon Advancer is the 3rd of the level 4s, and it allows you to special summon it when you control a Photon monster. As stated with Photon Thrasher, it is simply here because it is a name that we can get on board easily and is a rank 4 enabler. And for our final level 4, we have 3 Photon Orbital. Photon Orbital's effect allows you to target a Photon or Galaxy monster you control and equip this card to that targeted card from either your hand or side of the field. Once equipped, it gives that monster 500 extra attack points and also makes that monster immune from battle destruction. You can send this equipped card to the graveyard, add a Galaxy or Photon monster from your deck to your hand except for itself. This card adds so much versatility to this deck because it just allows you to search literally everything you need. It is actually amazing. You always run 3, never less. Moving on to our out-of-theme cards, we have 3 Leviona the Primordial Chaos Dragon. Leviona's effects vary depending on the attribute of monsters used to banish for its summon, but it goes as following. 3 light monsters, special summon 1 monster from your graveyard in defense position. 3 dark monsters, shuffle 1 random card from your opponent's hand into the deck. Light and dark monsters, non-targeting destruction for up to 2 cards on the field. Leviona is primordial here for its light-based ability, as it allows you to fetch out another galaxy name from your graveyard in order to go into the rank 8 Xyz toolbox a bit more. Just be wary that cards like Photon Sanctuary will prevent you from using Leviona's effect, so just keep that in mind while you're playing the deck and you should be fine. And Ash is our hand trap of choice because it's probably currently the best one in this current format. Onto our spell lineup, we have 3 Photon Sanctuary. Photon Sanctuary gives you 2 Photon tokens that are both level 4 and have 2000 attack, and it limits you to only summoning light monsters this turn. This card is excellent because it is a 1 card Galaxy Eye Soul Flare Dragon, and it also allows you to put more Photon names on board for things like Vanisher. Galaxy Expedition is a spell card that allows you to special summon a Galaxy or Photon monster when you control a level 5 or higher Galaxy or Photon monster. This allows you to go into pretty much any of your rank 5 or 8 Xyz plays without much of a hassle. Now here's a bit of an interesting card because, well, really it's up to you to choose which one of these 2 cards you want to actually run. So we have either 3 World Legacy Inheritance or 3 Galaxy Zero. World Legacy Inheritance allows you to special summon a monster to a point that your link monster is pointing to. This can be used on any type of monster you have and can be used to revive a Cyber Dragon Infinity. On the flip side, Galaxy Zero is restricted to only Galaxy monsters and it puts them in face-up defense position. While Galaxy Zero requires less setup than World Legacy, Galaxy Zero is a lot more rigid when it comes to targets. Trade-in is a great boon to the consistency of the deck as it allows you to dump all the level 8s that you usually don't want to see in your hand early game, while letting you just dig deep and try to get to the Galaxy Soldier and the like. Thanks to the stat line on Galaxy Eye's Photon Dragon and Leviona the Chaos Dragon, you could search them out with Melody of Awakening Dragon, so that's why we have these 2 here. It's just another way to pitch cards that we don't need while adding ones we do need. Not to mention it sets up both Galaxy Soldier, Galaxy Knight, and Trade-in. Now to our final one-ofs, we have 1 Rhoda to search out most of our level 4 lineup, 1 Monster Reborn for Monster Revival and possible Xyz Revival in order to rank up into the Full Armor Photon Dragon, and 1 Soul Charge because that is literally an auto win button with this deck. Charlie's Lord Galaxian allows you to detach 1 or 2 materials depending on where you're summoning it. Special summon a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from either your hand or your deck respectively. Pretty obvious, but this guy can help you out of a lot of jams where you just don't seem to open up or draw into any of your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragons and you really need the rank 8 material. Starliege Photon Blast Dragon has a lot of text that basically says this protects all your monsters with 2000 or more attack from card destruction and targeting, and once per turn during your opponent's turn you can special summon a Galaxy Eyes from either your banish zone or your graveyard. Constellar Pleiades is pretty much the quintessential rank 5. Cyber Dragon Nova and Infinity are probably the card you go into the most in this extra deck, besides maybe Soul Flare Dragon, because it is your most flexible boss monster. Number 38 is just here to help us with spell negation. Number 90 is probably our secondary boss monster, as it allows you to negate monster effect and makes itself immune from destruction if you use a Photon card as material. Additionally, during your opponent's turn, it can search out a Galaxy or Photon card, and finally, since it is a Galaxy Eyes card, you could use it to rank up into Full Armor Photon Dragon or to Cypher Blade Dragon. It's an absolutely stellar card, never run less than 2. Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon allows you to target and steal your opponent's monsters and have their name treated as Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. This part isn't so important when you're stealing regular monsters, however if you steal Xyz monsters you can then rank them up into Full Armor Photon Dragon or Cypher Blade Dragon. I'm gonna lump the last 2 Xyz together. Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon and Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon are both simply here because they can be ranked up into and can pop 1 card on the field. They also have very big attack values, which are good for swinging over anything that might be too much of a problem for your lesser Galaxy Eyes monsters. For links, we're playing 2 Galaxy Eyes Soul Flare Dragon, which allows you to add a Galaxy or Photon monster in your graveyard back to your hand, and during your opponent's turn, you could either discard 2 cards to pop 1 of their monsters, or just 1 single Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon specifically to pop 1 of their monsters. With an excellent recovery effect and awesome link arrows, you should not run any less than 2 Soul Flare Dragon. A single hit potion again because because it's a light tech that can easily go into links, so it's self-explanatory. And finally, one copy of Proxy Dragon just to give us a few extra arrows to work with. While this is the deck list I've settled on, I do have some other options I want to present to you guys too. None of this is so much concrete, they're just kind of deck suggestions or variants you can do on your build if you so choose. Main decking triple Cyber Dragon and Mega Fleet in the extra deck allows you to have a better matchup against Goki, and in addition, it allows you to go into Cyber Dragon Infinity or Concealer Pleiades much easier than you would have normally. Tachyon Transmigration is definitely one of the most powerful counter traps ever produced, but it also requires you to leave on the field a number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, which is less than ideal as a boss monster. Otherwise, it's extremely susceptible to spell and trap removal. Excel Light was an excellent card, however, eating up your normal summon is something we really didn't like in testing, especially with how powerful Galaxy Knight is. Finally, as shown in the intro replay, Photon Satellite and 1-for-1 does allow you to make your rank 5s a little bit easier, and even allows you access to True King of all calamities. It's oftentimes a brick and is extremely unreliable in certain cases. With all that out of the way, let's go to our replays. So this game, I start pretty simple. I activate Photon Sanctuary, get Photon names onto the field, summon Vanisher, search my Galaxy Eyes, and then I decide to special summon my Galaxy Eyes via its own effect, just that way I can make Galaxy Expedition go live. Using Galaxy Expedition, I fetch myself a Galaxy Soldier in order to search out a Galaxy Knight. Then by using my Galaxy Photon Dragon and my Galaxy Soldier, I set up Soul Flare Dragon in order to add Soldier and make Knight live in my hand. While Photon Lord and Soul Dragon isn't exactly the most ideal end board, I have a Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in my hand to keep Soul Flare's effect live, and I have an Ash Blossom in my hand as well. So this guy won't be able to search out too much, and I should be able to slow him down enough that I can OTK him next turn. Looks like my game plan ended up paying off perfectly, and that's an easy game. While this Cosmo player is going off, I just keep notice that he had one spell or trap that he set directly from his hand to his side of the field, so that was the one I was most worried about. I was mainly worried that it was a Cosmojo, which it did end up being, and so I had to adjust my play so I could play around that. I normal Photon Satellite, bring out Vanisher, and go on from there. I started attempting to turbo out Cyber Dragon Infinity just because if he does get a little coy and he decides not to activate the Cosmojo early, that way I can negate it when he tries to banish one of my Galaxy Eyes or one of my Photon Lords or something like that. In addition, since I opened a lot of spells, I know that I can go a little resource heavy into this turn, so I use my Expedition, bring out my Soldiers, and I have my Galaxy Zero that I want to set up, and then I also have the Melody, which searches out my Leviona. I decided to do something cheeky here, bring out the number 107 in order to gain an effect off of his floating, and that way I'm able to punch him in the face for 4,000 damage. I then go into 400 Photon Dragon and Cypher Blade Dragon in order to pop his Pendulum Scales, and that'll hopefully be enough to keep him down. And of course, a Photon Lord, just for insurance. And while he's able to make a slick top deck and make a CDI, it's just not enough to my established board, and I take him out next turn. So this guy obviously opens up a lot of back row, and I just didn't want to do anything terribly fancy and to lose a lot of my resources, so I played rather conservatively. I just went for a nice easy Thrasher Vanisher combo, and he negated my Vanisher, which is unfortunate because I really want to use that trade-in, but I decided to just go for Star-Lord Galaxian and just bring out the Galaxy Eyes to try and swing for damage. I then used my Galaxy Eyes in order to prevent his Mech Knight from getting its effect off, which is like one of the very few times I've ever actually used Galaxy Eyes' effect ever. Now I decide to make a prediction that the back row he has is actually pretty weak, so I decide to go for Photon Sanctuary and just basically splooge out and make a whole bunch of Xyz and Link monsters and steal his Mech Knight in order to make Proxy Dragon, etc, etc. Well, that's all for this episode of High Impact. If you have any questions, concerns, or criticisms, please leave them in the comments below and I'll take a look. Thank you all very much for watching and have a wonderful day.